very quickly, we need to go to understand that the most important thing is to listen to Earth, and if we're not listening to Earth because she can't speak, we can listen to our own heartbeat, because that is Gaia's voice. That is the voice of the Earth. That is the voice of life in you. That is the natural sound that developed as your maintenance. Work with the harmony of your heart. Recognize it. Enjoy with it. Attain and calibrate with it. The novice is a novice because he believes he's a novice, because he believes there's a distinction between him and the duality that's present within him. You need to recognize very quickly that you are your most advanced right now. This is what you have to work with. Look at your efficiency. If you want to become a leader of yourself, look at the things, look at the problems in your daily life. If you want to become a leader of humanity, look at the problems that humankind is going through. In other words, look at every human non-judgmentally to understand how we can evolve the human process. That is leadership that needs to become present, and it is always present in the heart of man. You are alive. Your aliveness is being observed. You are the observer, for you are observing your existence. You are the creator of the creation that is observed and self-observable. Because self-reflection eventually becomes, at its peak, you looking at your own reflection, looking back at you. When you have looked in the mirror that deeply, and you have seen that the mirror was never just on your wall, but it was in many things in regards to how thought is structured, and then through that self-reflective knowing, you will know that regardless, if you know, the reflection will know as well. If you move your hand the direction you want to go, the reflection in the mirror will also look at that direction, will also point in that direction. Life is with you when you are with it. Those who are without life are choosing to be outside. Experience it outside of the duality that is creating the tensions which flow into your definitions and become unpleasant, attractive gears. We are a machine that is aware of itself based on science. Now, that awareness is also present in spirituality. In spirituality, you are human. You understand science. It works for you. But you are wondering about the experiencer more than what is experience and what we know is experience. It's true. It's true. In other words, our eyes must always be rediscovered in a changing world. You need to look at the empty seats to sometimes know where to sit. You need to look at a packed stadium to see how distraction works from whatever that could be happening outside of that stadium. In other words, life is to observe the symbolism and know that if you create a symbol, you might as well create a good meaning for it. Because you are present in many layers of existential effect. The cause is very integrated, but the effect is its own separation, is duality in this life. Our voices have always spoken. In other words, your energy has been expressed in your life. When you were a kid, you didn't know language, you would say, wah, or something, Now you know language. Regardless, that energy level is being expressed, and it's growing, it's going in a certain direction, you see. The worst thing you can do when you are lost, or when you feel lost, is to think that you don't have feet and you can't move. Being stuck is worse than being lost. Being lost, you're still continuing. Being stuck is you're literally paying way too much attention to things you don't need to, and you need to literally go experience life. Our fears develop because there is an experience that is uncomfortable for us if we proceed with it. In other words, it is very important to get comfortable with your discomfort and see all the treasures that are there. It is very important to acknowledge the wrong things that you have done aside from your good qualities. Regardless if someone asks you and tells you, tell me 5 or 10 qualities about yourself. If someone asks you that, why those specific range of qualities? Why not see how I have been as a human experience, for example, as a human being experiencing? We choose how deep we want to look at life. We choose if we want to see a tree which is first, in your memory, it shows the trees in the child book you had, or whatever, or the first tree you drew, or whatever, the first tree, whatever. Your experience of nature should never be avoided. Never ignore yourself interacting with nature. Experience your moments. That is something that is not said a lot, and I'm saying it because it's something I'm doing. And I understand that when you are one with everything, that means you are aware of everything. That means you are more alert than everything. Your mind, your body, many different layers of your presence and your different manifestations of who you are is being maintained at subtler levels where an ideal self cannot simply reach. The reason a lot of people seek spirituality is because they think their death is just the death of their idea. No. The process, there's more to the process. That's why you're not aware and you come into the same condition. Become more aware. Become so aware that when death comes, you have reached the most awareness and integrative existential presence with everything. You have literally stretched your duality until you see that the line was always a circle. And that is why circles are used in yin and yang's life. Understand that criticism is a revelation. Any information you're getting is literally a revelation. It is literally the value. You hearing my words, each word that you are hearing is the revelation of what the moment is giving you. All I am saying is just be aware of who's experiencing rather than just having a great experience. Really know who's having a great experience. And then that is alertness. That is keeping a state of awareness where you're more tuned. Listen, there are flows in life. There are rivers naturally developing. There are energies that can be more efficiently utilized by the human being in regards to its own awareness, not the story. I am not talking about story. I am simply bringing all teachings, all philosophies, all views to how when you are silent, you can perceive everything, even outside the noise. When you reach silence, your alertness and your awareness about the world changes. When you reach your own stillness, when you perceive and literally experience states where you are going through idea death. In other words, you are destructing the idea of you by seeing that it was never you in the first place. That is a more of a natural, I guess, meditative route, which Taoism has brilliantly stood up for. You see, even though we do play with the words enlightenment, nirvana, spiritual journey, looking within, Mr.Within, even though we have these ideas, immediate ideas, or actually prophet ideas, one of the ideas passed down from creation to our wavelength, We need to be more aware of our environment, and we need to utilize the human being as a natural entity and present and flow of particle manifestation is and needs to become more aware of its environment. You need to understand that what you are doing in life is literally you're becoming more aware of different environments. Become extremely aware where you are right now, and this requires self-reflection. In other words, take some time during the day, sit down and literally acknowledge all the bad things you've done and acknowledge all the good things you've done. Literally look at what you think is good and bad in your life. Look at all the things you feel you're guilty for. Literally look at all that. Calm, your body's calm, you're in nature, your body is very comfortable, so there's no tenseness to bring forth a different experience, and you're just very calm, and you're aware of the moment. And as you are receiving these ideas into the structures that there's in the systems or in the programs they've been written in regards to flow and outcome. But as you reflect, you notice that you are keeping ideas that don't need to be there if you feel guilt. You're keeping ideas that don't need to be in to taint your present experience, your present moment, that are just simply unnecessary toilet paper stuck to your shoe if you're walking, even not having walked in the bathroom, it just naturally got stuck on your shoe. You know, it's like eventually your direct experience will direct you and will give you direction. Your direct experience is the direction your life is going to. I am simply communicating this at the age that I am, and at the life that I am, literally the moment that I am, that this is a good thing to observe. We have a lot of mental clutter, and then we don't value the search because we have mental clutter and we don't have accurate definitions. May this be beautifully heard, and I hope heard in many ways, that all directions are pointing eventually at direct experience. They always have, regardless of projections and playfulness in regards to games we've built. You see, if you've built a game, let's say this is a mental structure or a mental view or just a view or angle on life, if you've created that, then you need to become aware that because you've created a game, how you survive the game is by playing playful and playing the game. However, when you detach from the game, where are you in life? And that is a closer sphere to direct experience. We all have masks if we are entertaining ideas of ourselves, if we're communicating with ideas. It does not replace direct experience. Me writing the word love on a wall is not the direct experience of, for example, you loving someone. It is just the word written on a wall that is blocking your view. So you do not need to get lost in the labyrinth because you couldn't take another turn. Do you know what I mean? Free will. Decide your experience. You have free choice. What does the word free mean? Does free mean you're always trying to run away from the dominator, or like freedom? Or does free mean that before a word free or its polarity, there was literally no sound? And that was the closest point of death you could get to, by literally seeing the silence. Our culture is developing, and it's developing at a very interesting and amazingly technologically way, which I like so far. I don't know what's behind the scenes in regards to human technology. However, we need to understand that because we're so entertained by ideas, sometimes we need to become idealess. We need to become selfless by literally attaining wisdom from our own direct experience. I have read many books in my life. I have literally studied and looked at who the greatest human teachers were to see what lessons they were talking about. However, nothing is as valuable as your direct experience. That is life's gift to you. To look through eyes that look back at themselves. To become one with the mirror. To become one with the nature. Regardless, it's not even about the mirror. It's about knowing yourself regardless of the reflection, which is the mental idea of you in its adjusted reality of programmed choice and conditioned choice. There's a version of you right now that is conditioned to look at ways in the only ways you know how. If you don't discover newer and greater ways of looking at life throughout your day, you're literally limiting your life experience at the time that you're here. Always look at new ideas. Always come out of your house and smell the fresh air, smell nature, feel yourself breathing, and adjust all your energy levels. Do not have imbalances. Calm your body, calm your mind. Become a centered and aligned and grounded human being, and then go work in life with abundance. See, you choose the technologies you have. You choose the type of phone you buy. You choose the type of social media you use. But you, whoever you are, also choose technologies such as calibrating, learning, and harmonizing and aligning with nature. See, if there are anyone out there, if there is anyone out there who is a science fiction fan, and I'm not that into science fiction, even though I have very deep ideas on it, but if you are a science fiction fan and you have ideas of our evolution, I want you to answer me something. If aliens came down, would they want to talk to all of the life that is here on planet Earth, or do they just want to talk to humans? What is an alien outside the human idea? If when you look at these, it goes in the field of consciousness and awareness. If you were a blind man, even if an alien came down to Earth, it wouldn't matter to you. You would not see it. But we are not blind, but we understand blindness could be lack of awareness. If we increase our awareness, your perception of the reality of extraterrestrial presence changes from the idea you have of it. And it doesn't work in separated ways. The reason we have access to spiritual technology is because that is how the communication or higher sense of communication will develop. Regardless of what humanity does, the reason they're the winners is because there are so many waves, so many energies, and so many flows coming to Earth that are new technology. They are not involving themselves. They are not breaking parameters put by man of his own concern. They are it is literally no longer a dualistic form of engagement with life. That when you go at that point, you can totally understand them because you are not caught in yourself. If an alien comes down here, you don't see the alien. You see all your reactions to those thoughts of what it is and fear and overwhelmment. Your idea system breaks. How much can you see when the computer's shut down? That's all I'm saying. When you perceive that, you can, when you're as comfortable as that, in other words, when you're comfortable with death, you have literally gotten rid of your fear of anything. What they say, conquer your fear. You have a fear of death. How do you conquer death before, you die? How do you do it? It's not possible. You have to die, right? But you can observe the value of that and try to see that death is an experience. It is literally as if I'm walking and I'm going literally through a different doorway. Literally, it feels like moving through a doorway. Literally, you feel the different room. That's what it looks like based on the harmony and the expanding notion of a universe we have. Scientists say the universe is expanding. If you believe that's it, you are also expanding. You are also changing. Consciousness is developing in different ways. In other words, I have no fear about humanity's end because I am understanding the consciousness is becoming more comfortable than just being defined as human. Humanity is like, for example, the way we're talking about humanity now and its limitations is literally like the ape being like, I'm a dumbass compared to who's there. You know what I mean? If literally we were all back then, literally it would be as if the ape was saying, I can't evolve. I'm this, bro. How can I evolve? It had doubt of its own evolution. So what you do is you allow the person who has doubt to self-reflect, to see the connections in his life more than the connections he's seen. It is observance. It is infinite alertness and awareness. You can become aware of yourself in many ways, and I am not talking about ways that are relevant to drugs or psychedelics or anything, or rituals. Rituals are fine too, I guess, if it's flowing and aligning with your synchronicity. However, all I'm saying is that when we are searching now as people to look at the unseen, we need to start from more clever locations and then look at it. You don't tell an atheist to look at his direct experience because he is convinced his direct experience is bullshit and he's a machine that is physical and is going to die, even though there's this collective intelligence that is not him but encompasses him. That is something that needs to be perceived. In other words, regardless of all the words that I could speak, there are flows and alignments and guidance, existential guidance, that one can receive from nature. But you need to get rid of mental clutter. You need to become more aware of your ideas and the new ideas you're having or ideas you're changing. It is important to invest some time in changing some of your ideas. You might be someone born with ideas that don't serve you. You literally can judge it because you're like, the dislike comes because you have a greater alignment which you're moving towards. So that greater alignment is there regardless. When you are become so aware that you don't buy into the story, you don't become a certain type of customer. You don't become a victim of someone who's labeling a victim. We need to become very self-aware of our senses. You need to become aware of how well you're hearing things. You need to become aware of how well you're breathing things, how well you're breathing air. You need to become aware of how your physicality feels, how your awareness feels. If you have a headache, if you have any mental clutter, you need to become aware of habits of you that are keeping some states, physical state conditions with you because of your choices simply, right? When we look at our experience, eventually we have two choices. You either are uncomfortable with your experience, so you're looking for another experience, or you become comfortable with experience. When you do that, that is a very selfless state. It is where my words stop and simply, I just hope life has brought you to what you are meant to see in this moment. You see, do not interpret my voice as one that fears a future that is not going to make it, but has already made it. Do not limit your view of my words to that. Understand that I've said it from the beginning. All that Mr.Within can be is a mirror. I am simply bringing a mirror of life, and this is my self-reflection of life presented with my awareness of what is going on here as a human being having lived 23 years, 22 to 23 years. Having lived in this life, these are my views. This is how far my terrace is. This is how far I've climbed on the mountain. And I am telling you, regardless of the static value you see, it's a dynamic process. If you think you're being judged, that's ridiculous. Because everything is changing. There are no static levels to be judged. Do you know what I mean? You choose how judgment affects you. And you also become aware of how you affect judgment. Self-awareness is really important in society because we're no longer just valuing our humanity, we're valuing the humanity in others. We are saying, okay, the value I feel is the value of that person because that's the only human experience I have, right? That's what I share in common, right? If you are convinced that your experience is lost in a world filled with a destructive, meaningless, stalemate, then that's what you can choose. You can choose to play chess. You can choose to create kings and place pawns in front of them. You can choose this. But regardless of that, you need to be aware that, as someone I heard said very well, all the pieces go back in the box. All your somethingness program, all this experience, all the values you had literally detach, and you see a new value in life that is encompassing and observing that action, that expression. When your expression changes, when your awareness and alertness changes, you realize you had to always have been there to know to be there. Do you know what I mean? It's as if the ape always knew he was going to be a human regardless of all the stupid shit it did. You know? And it's as if that consciousness is being more self-reflective. Humanity is a toroidal field in regards to how evolution is moving and how consciousness is spiraling into itself. These are very big ideas, and I feel now it's time for me to give a video of a deeper view on who I am and what I do and some other traits which I can communicate. Much blessings ahead, thank you, and always be comfortable with where you are. I mean, it's a beautiful choice. Thank you.